today's action figure review at the spotlight of the reviewing station is on the brand new just released Power Rangers Beast Morphers action figures. These are the 6-inch basic line of action figures. This is not the Lightning collection, obviously, as you can tell by the packaging here. But before we take a look at these very cool looking figures, we must first take a look at their packaging. As partake of every single video review on this channel, up close, in your face! Kicking things off with the Beast Morpher Red Ranger, we have Saban's Power Rangers, Hasbro's logo, a gimmick. More details on that shortly. Beast Morphers at the top. Warning, choking hazard. Devin the Red Ranger. And the figure, of course. On the back of the packaging, we've got some information regarding the Red Ranger action figure himself and the gimmick that goes along with the Beast X Morpher, which I do not have. More on that later. Other figures, or should I say paintings, available in this line. Here you go. Check out the brand new PowerRangers.com for all of your mighty morphing goodness. Up next we have Ravi, the Blue Ranger from Beast Morphers. Pretty much it'd be the same dealio, except for the artwork at the top here. Instead of being all Red Ranger, we do have the different Rangers for their packaging, which is nice. And here's a look at the back of the packaging for the Blue Ranger himself, with the same gimmick here being announced for the Beast X Morpher. And finally, here's Zoe, the Yellow Ranger. Once again, for the figure, we have the nice artwork of the character herself. Looks pretty cool. And on the back of the packaging, we've got the Yellow Ranger action figure prototype here, showcasing her weapons that she comes with, and the key that can be used for the Beast X Morpher. Right, are you ready for this? I'm excited. Who's excited? I'm excited, like I just said. Activate package destruction mode. You're loving it, aren't you? Remove the figure. Feels pretty soft. Let's remove his weapons. Wow, this is actually nice. They actually painted the weapons. They didn't have to do that, but they actually did. I'm impressed. Here's the key. So it just rotates down, I guess. Like that. And the key can be clipped onto his arm like so. Alright, Blue. Your turn now. One of the weapons already went flying. There we go. Just go ahead and remove the other weapon. Once again, very nicely painted. Figure himself. There we go. Caught on something. Don't want to come out, but there we go. Alright, Zoe, let's do this. There we go. There's her gun. And here's her sword. Here she is. There we go. Once again, I do not have the Beast X Morpher, so I cannot show you off the feature with these keys here, but I will give you a good look at them real quickly. Here is the Red Rangers, the cheetah, looks pretty nice. Let's swing out the keyblade itself so you can see what it looks like. There you go. Very cool. And then here's a clip right here where you can, yes, attach it to your Power Rangers arms. Like so. There we go. Could be used as a weapon if you want. Oh, that's actually pretty tight on there. I'm worried about that kind of scratching the paint off here. Oh, wow, that does not want to come off now. Is there a button or something? Oh, man, what a pain. Go ahead and rotate this back down, put this aside. Here's a look at the Blue Ranger's key. A gorilla, kinda, sorta. I can kinda see it. Taking a look at the blade of the key, and as you can see, finally, here we have the Yellow Ranger's key, which is a rabbit. But I can kind of see the rabbit, right? So let's rotate this out, and there you go. There's a look at the blade. Alright, so now here are the Power Rangers themselves, straight out of the packaging. So let's get to it, starting off with Devin, the Red Ranger first, because obviously red is power. Ha! Here's a good look at the paint job on the figure, and as what Hasbro is best known for, it is a fully painted action figure. Minus the fact that the zipper was not actually painted, but that can be an easy fix. Check out the sculpting of the suit here. It's got a little bit of a leather feel to it, as you can see from the details here. But you can really spot it at the lower section here with this vinyl piece. There's a good look at the detail on the forearms. Nicely painted silver here. Seems to be pretty clean on both the front and the back of the figure. Heck, they actually even went into the liberty of painting the Beast Morpher on the forearms. That's impressive. And for the record, this is a $10 action figure, and the fact that you get all this is astounding. Take a good look at the buckler there. Here we've got Go Buster, or should I say Grid Battle Force. And it does say Grid Battle Force right here on the strap. The only thing is it's not painted, but that's okay. For a basic figure, it's fine. Here's a look at the lower section of the Red Ranger. As you can see, some nice work here in the details with the wrinkles. And take one last look at the helmet of the Red Ranger. Looks really good. Let's go to articulation real quickly on him. And Devin has a ball joint at the head. And then we got a pin disc for inward and outward movement at the shoulder, which also has the swivel cut, as you can get a full 360. There's a swivel cut above the elbow section, and the elbow does sport 90 degrees of bend on a single joint. However, the figure does not sport any swivel cut at the wrist. Let's see, no waist swivel cut either. Legs are universally jointed, so you get this much kicking forward. Nothing going back because of the sculpting of the butt. But if you wanted to, you can pull off a very nice JCVD split, so there's your steel quality for this basic figure. Single jointed knees that does get 90 degrees of bend. There's also a swivel cut above it. And that's it for the articulation on this figure. Let's take a look at the weapons that the figure comes with. He has his iconic Cheetah Blaster, as you can see. It's got some paintwork on it. Not much, but for a $10 price action figure here, it's enough. But the sculpting on it is really good. I'm actually impressed. And the Red Ranger does sport a gun gripping hand, and he can hold it pretty nicely. Take a good look at his sword here, and as you can see, we do have some nice paint for the bladed part, and then around the handle as well, and this piece. And it seems to be a bit hollow here. I'm not so sure what that's all about. And there doesn't seem to be anywhere to actually holster this. So I guess we'll just have to put it in his hand. And there's the Red Ranger with his accessories all set and ready to go into combat. Moving on. Next up, we got Ravi the Blue Ranger. And taking a good look at the paint job on this figure, it's pretty clean. Looks really good for the visor. The helmet overall is quite amazing. Here's a good look at the torso section. As you can see, some nice clean work for the silver paint. Buckler's nice and clean as well. You can see the Go Busters / Grid Battle Force logo. And of course, it's around the strap as well. Here's a good look at the forearms on the figure with that nice shiny silver paint. Here's a good look at the Beast Morpher on the figure, nicely painted. Here's a look at the lower section of the figure. Once again, some nice sculpting here with the wrinkles on the pants and boots. And once again, a very clean and fully painted figure from the back. Moving into the articulation, and Ravi sports a ball joint at the head, a pin disc at the shoulder to allow inward and outward movement. There's also the swivel cut to allow a full 360. Single jointed elbows that does get 90 degrees of bend, and there is a swivel cut above that. Just like the Red Ranger, nothing at the wrist, nothing at the waist, and the legs are universally jointed. Again, this much kicking forward, nothing going back, but you can also pull off a very nice JCVD split, so there's your steel quality. Swivel cut above the knee joint, and the knee joints are single jointed. They do get 90 degrees of bend. And that's your articulation on the figure. And just like the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger also comes with a very nicely painted sword here. Pop that into his hand. Figure also sports a very nice camera blaster. I'm assuming that's what this is. It cannot convert into a camera. This is all one sculpted piece, but it is nicely painted just like the Cheetah Blaster. I'll go ahead and put that in his right hand. And here is Ravi, all weaponized, ready to aid Devin in battle against evil space aliens. Finally, here we have Zoe. Let's take a look at our female Power Ranger action figure from HASBRO. Once again, just like the other two Rangers, a very nicely sculpted helmet with some very lovely paintwork here, especially for the metallic piece at the visor. There's a good look at the torso section with some nice clean paintwork. Here's a look at Zoe's Beast Morpher, and as you can see, just like the other two, it's very nicely painted. Her skirt piece is a very soft vinyl material, which means this should not limit any articulation at the hips. Here's a good look at the lower section of the figure. Once again, nicely sculpted with the wrinkles and the patterns going on here at the boots. And here's a good look at the figure from the back with everything nicely painted and no sloppiness. Moving into articulation, we have a ball joint at the head for Zoe. There's a pin disc at the shoulder to allow inward and outward movement. There's also the swivel cut to allow a full 360. There's a swivel cut above the elbow section, and the elbow is single jointed, but it does get 90 degrees of bend. Nothing at the wrist, nothing at the waist. Legs are universally jointed, and you can't get this much kicking straightforward, especially with the skirt piece. And you get this much going back, which is more than the other figures. And I'm quite impressed that you can get a very amazing JCVD split. So there's your silhouette quality. There's a swivel cut above the knee joint. The knee joint is single jointed. It does get 9 degrees of bend. And pretty much she has the same amount of articulation as the other two male Rangers. Okay, Hasbro, you've blown my expectations away already. But we're not done yet, as we do have some weapons. So Zoe comes with, just like the other two Rangers, a very lovely painted sword, which we can slide right into her hands like so. And finally, she comes with this very lovely camera blaster, which looks pretty cool for the sculpting, and there is a little bit of some paint work here, so they didn't skip a beat. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and pop that into her hands now. And Zoe's now ready to go join the other two in battle against evil forces. So let's do this. Finally, at long last, I can do some scale comparisons with some other Hasbro figures with these Hasbro Power Ranger products, such as Transformers. Here we have the two Voyagers of Wave 2 from the Siege line, Soundwave and Starscream. Plus, here's a look at some other 6-inch Legend figures from Hasbro's line of Marvel Legends. Here we have the new Avengers in-game, Ronan and Thanos. And I threw Captain Marvel in so you can get a good comparison between these two female figures. Let's get the obvious out of the way before we end this video. This is not the Lightning Collection. This is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But as standard 6-inch basic action figures targeted at children, ages 4 and up obviously, this is amazing. This is a step in the right direction. Now, granted, there could be a little more in the terms of articulation, especially for wrist joints, which is something Bandai of America did offer with their Power Ranger figures, even though they were exposed to over muscular proportions. These being slimmed down figures, it looks very accurate to the actors in the suits on screen. It's perfect. It's amazing. That's why I'm being biased at this point. I do expect a little improvement over time. Maybe not with Beast Morphers. As it is though, they feel great. They're pretty tight in the joints. The articulation is really good on these figures. And I do love the fact that the vinyl skirt piece on the Yellow Ranger does not hinder the articulation at the hips. She can get a full kick, just like the other male figures here. I'm astounded by that. I'm just overall blown away by the effort going on here. The very first attempt at Power Rangers from Hasbro. If you're interested, these figures are just now starting to pop up at your local Walmart store and Target. They're not exactly on the toy aisle at the moment. They're actually on the outside of the toy aisles on separate islands with like Hot Wheels and the new Avengers in-game action figures. That's where your best bet is to find these figures at the moment, but I'm sure as they start to fly in, then they'll start showing up on the shelves. Hasbro has done a phenomenal job at this moment. They've surprised me in places I was not expecting at all for these basic figures. I think these are pretty much a good win, and for the time being, a good replacement when it comes to the figures that are not a part of the Lightning Collection at the moment, being the fact that we have no Beast Morpher figures in that line right now. So, questions or comments, you know to do, hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you liked today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until then, my friends, this is young professional toy reviewer Hasbro sign off by saying, when the opportunity persists, don't give up on your dreams. Seize the moment. And thank you for watching.